Oh boy, in 2025 we have Snowbreak drama. But guys, this time it's not CN, it's EN this time. So, a little bit different. We're mixing it up. Now, as you guys know, on this channel, I have covered countless topics with Snowbreak all last year. I covered the 13 voice actors leaving. I covered the 3 voice actors that stayed, which was what, Cherno, Yao, and Katya. I then covered the terrible story that transpired. I think it was during Frisha's patch. Essentially, the story just didn't make any sense at all. The characters were acting weird and out of whack, and there was a lot of decisions that were not good for the overall story as a whole. They fired the person and they remade the story, right? I also covered the cosplay incident where now they won't have any official cosplayers because of what happened, which we'll get into what happened with them towards the end of the video, because I actually want to highlight something that happened with the drama that's been going on, right? I've covered even the ENVAs, which I'm gonna be honest, no one really cared about the ENVAs to begin with. And then finally I covered the censorship of the game, which led to a massive basically all types of players on the EN side mostly leaving. And although understandable, there was a solution, which was the localization equals 1. However, I know, being an NA bro, that we do not like censorship over here, right? CN is more used to it than we are. So whenever we see censorship, even if there is an easy solution, people just left, right? Because they said no censorship, but unfortunately they had nothing they could do because the government came in and intervened, right? So I've covered countless topics about Snowbreak, and now I'm going to be covering 2 things here. One, the EN Discord being purged. Essentially, mods were banned, people that were talking shit about the game were banned, and then some misinformation about the Snowbreak CN community and their community guidelines, which I really want to touch on that one, because that one was the thing I really cared about the most versus this one. This one I don't necessarily care about, but let me get into the app, guys. So let's get started. Now, a couple of days ago, or I'll say probably at least a little last week, but in general a couple of days ago, there was a purge of the EN Discord here, and I have the Reddit post that was from 4 days ago. I think the actual incident happened 5 days ago, right? And essentially I'll read it off right here. But Snowbreak official Discord demanded that mods put in 8 hours of mandatory work per week and meet quotas, and then started mass firing / banning mods who did not agree. See this post for the explanation. So if I had to really explain this, essentially a lot of this just started off with the EN Discord overall being toxic. And I'll put up some examples here, but there's a lot of people, well, I won't say a lot, a small group of people in the Discord that would shit on the game. They didn't like the Master Love. They don't like how male characters were removed. They may be complaining about all types of things. And something that's been established for well over 1.5 years now, they're still complaining about to this day. So CN community managers came through, and I'm essentially, from everything I've gotten, was wondering what was going on. Why are people, talking about or talking down upon the things that Snowbreak stands for? So they got the mods around. They're like, hey, mods, we're going to implement some new rules. Here it is, 8 hours mandatory of working. And then on top of that, there are quotas you have to meet, certain banning quotas that you have to meet. These are similar to what they do over there on CN. And basically a lot of them disagreed, so they were fired, they were banned. People that were talking shit about Snowbreak in general were also banned. They even lost a lot of work that some people posted that helped out players, right? They were also banned too as well. Essentially, the EN Discord was purged. Now, from what I've been told by people in my Discord, what I was told on my end, apparently people, and again, this is like a small amount of people, would talk shit about the game in general, and that they've been doing this for a long time. So they're not surprised that it happened. They're kind of shocked, but they're not surprised as the reason as to why it happened. Now, yes, It could be unfair. Yes, you know, it may be a little bit much, but at the end of the day, it's purged. What do I think about it personally? As somebody that's never really interacted with the Discord, I've been making Snowbreak videos since basically late, like 2023, 2024 is when around I started. I've never interacted with the Discord at all. I recently joined the content creator program for Snowbreak earlier this year in 2025. So I don't have much to say, but I will say this. A lot of Discords, I won't say a lot, but there are some gacha game Discords that have a very toxic group of people that will shit on a game when it has like a major change or something that is very significant, right? And they'll shit on it for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 1.5, 2 years. And at some point, no matter what you say, you may not like it, but if it's been well over a year, why are you still here? If you think Master Love is for a bunch of incels, why are you still here? If you think it's dumb that they removed male characters, it's been over 1.5 years of playing Snowbreak. Why are you still here? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Me personally, I don't get it, because if I said all that shit and I'm still here, I'm gonna look like the dumbass. Not the developers that you disagree with. At some point, you gotta look in the mirror and realize, bro, I've been talking all this shit and I'm still here. So they got purged. It's unfortunate. Do I personally care again? No, I don't. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments about that. And we're going to move on to the second part here. So the next thing I want to get into, guys, is the next post that is made on this whole Snowbreak topic in the r/gacha gaming, right? And the topic is, so apparently these are the official Snowbreak CN community guidelines. Now, as you can see, the post has been locked and it's been removed by moderators. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what the moderators said before I read the original post and the image that was shown. And I'm gonna get into why this rubbed me the wrong way. So it says, this is a follow-up comment being left as a result of further discussion amongst the team. The graphic included in this post is not official, and there is no explicit evidence provided of either acknowledgement or acceptance by the official game staff, or that these guidelines are being enforced within official spaces. So, what are they talking about? This is what was posted, right? This is building harmony. Our building harmony is our duty. Guarding community building consensus, right? And I'm gonna just read off some of this here. So, let me back out. Number 1, Snowbreak Containment Zone is a male-oriented ML game and completely rejects shipping of sexual minorities, female homosexuals, male homosexuals, bisexuals, transgenders, yuri, furry, and other preferences and orientations that are contrary to the game. 2, it is forbidden to discuss any yuri, yuri/CP content, to mention female adjutant as well as pullable male characters. Yuri and shipping fans in this game are permanently blocked. 3, it is forbidden to talk about the real gender. Please focus on the game itself. 4, prohibit the release of any political related info or content. 5, it is forbidden to maliciously memeing, scandalizing, attacking, or defaming the characters of this game. 6, it is forbidden to discuss any leaked info. Please refer to the official announcement. 7, prohibit advertisement of other communities. 8, prohibit the release of any trading information. 9, it is prohibited to post screenshots of other gacha games, pulls, or discuss other gacha game content too much. 10, this game will only do collabs with other industries, but not with the game industry. Right, and then here's a couple things. I'll leave this up for you guys, but I'll read like the first 2 community norms here. Do not talk about other games. Moderators will moderate such topics strictly. 2, no comparing the girls. All girls are treated equally. I'll read this last one. 3, any intention to split the player's community is treated to divide the community. The community moderator will deal with such action. So essentially, if you're trying to break up the community, you'll probably get banned, right? Now, all of that is a lot, right? And when you read into it, you're like, well, damn, CN community is pretty cutthroat. Well, apparently that's not the official, like this moderator says, and I have some info here from my CN bro. That's not the official Snowbreak Discord. That is a separate community made by essentially started by some fans here. So let's get into it. I'm gonna show you what he says about the whole thing. Now, I go and contact my CN bro, and I basically tell him whatever info you have, I'm all ears. And he says, where would you like to start? The community guidelines first. And I basically tell him, just give me the whole rundown here. And this is what he says. Well, I do not know the whole DC issue, but I am quite clear that the poster and some certain people want Snowbreak and Snowbreak players to be a group of rage and maniac people. The so-called official community guidelines are made and translated by players in Taiba community, not the devs. But the guidelines include some important information from official live streams, such as the game is head for only Master Level content. And excuse his English here. His English is very, very good, but you know, some things may not click well at first when I read it. Why the players always emphasize the guidelines? That's because if the community is not as strong as a fortress, it is difficult to prevent rats from sneaking into community. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, what is he talking about? If you guys remember all of the videos that I have done for Snowbreak, you can even use what's been going on with Weathering Waves and the whole thing with the censorship, and people are finding out that there are these there's this little Hoyo community of people that tend to do anything in their power to shit on other games that aren't Hoyoverse. In the CN community, it's a battleground, bro. There are so many anti-people that are against Snowbreak, that are against Girls Frontline 2, that are against Weathering Waves, that are against Hoyoverse. So when he says something like this is not surprising at all. And this is what happened last year with Snowbreak. Because remember, like I was talking about earlier, I talked about the voice actors all of a sudden having to quit. I talked about the censorship. I even talked about the cosplayers, which one thing that bothered me here, and I'm going to show you guys. So this was a comment, this was essentially a response regarding to what happened with the whole cosplayer drama. This guy says, I'm guessing you don't know what happened when CSUN tried to use female cosplayers to promote the game. They dug up a 10-year-old social media post, claimed they were feminist spies, forced them to stop using cosplayers, and apologize. Now, the reason why I have such a problem with this is because I remember vividly covering this with the same Snowbro I'm talking to right now. That is not what happened. Like I was telling you guys, there are so many groups that fight each other in this gacha space in China, right? Think of like Taiba, Weibo, Bilibili. All of this shit is like Twitter times 2 or times 3, or like Reddit times 2 or 3. Shit is crazy over there, right? And for him to say that is wild, because it wasn't Snowbreak fans in CN actively looking to shit on the cosplayer. It was another anti-group that did not like Snowbreak trying to make them look bad and say, hey, look, this cosplayer doesn't believe in Master Love. Why would you guys hire a cosplayer that doesn't believe in Master Love? So what the Snowbreak dev team had to do, which was unfortunate, they wanted to stay out of drama. And they unfortunately had to say, we won't be doing any more official cosplayers for our basically events. It's not that the Snowbreak community hated cosplayers or was looking up cosplayers. That's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. It was a whole nother group trying to push this narrative and shit on the actual Snowbreak community. And my CM bro told me that unfortunately it sucked, but they understand why they had to do it, because Snowbreak had been going through drama in the past with the voice actors. I think this was a little bit before the censorship, but there was already plenty of issues going on in general. So this was just to stop it immediately, because they didn't want to cause any confusion or misunderstanding, right? So I really wanted to highlight that, because that is not true at all, right? So again, this goes back to what this guy is saying, that the communities, especially Snowbreak, needs to be, like he said, as strong as a fortress to prevent things from happening. Now, he goes on to say, it has a story. The proper Taiba which Snowbreak players gathered was called Snowbreak Containment Zone, right? I translated it here. So that word in Mandarin, that is Snowbreak Containment Zone. But he goes on to say there is also a Taiba named Snowbreak Containment Zone official, but it has a smaller population. So he continues to say, that's because when Snowbreak was Project Snow, someone registered Snowbreak Containment Zone before the official and became the mod. And that mod apparently was a Yuri maniac, right? So apparently his account had a bunch of Yuri stuff. So the official was registered as Snowbreak Containment Zone official, which he talked about up in the thread here. Now, he continues to say, but afterwards, the players exiled the Yuri mod and went back to the community Snowbreak Containment Zone. Now, the community group has over 261,000 subscribers. The official Snowbreak Containment Zone has less than 20,000. So, that Redditor was bringing up a community guideline noted from the community Discord. None of what was said on there is backed by the official Discord or CSUN as a company. So I want to really preface this one more time because I was doing a lot of yapping there. There is a lot of drama that goes on in Snowbreak, but you have to understand the reason why they have such ironclad, and you could call it crazy. I'm not gonna argue that with you, but the reason it's so specific over there is because all of these groups, whatever gacha game you're in, there is just constant pretending to be someone that you're not, shitting on the game, trying to get the game age restricted, or trying to report their game to the government to get it censored. All of this stuff happens all the time within these gacha communities. And this is between Taiba, Bilibili, Weibo. It's crazy, right? So the guy that made that post was basically just spreading misinformation. And like I said, the thing he mentioned about the cosplayer stuff, just unbelievable how wrong he was in that, because I remember covering that one vividly because it was such a crazy thing to happen that it was completely out of the devs' hands, and it wasn't the Snowbreak community in CN. So I'm glad I could really correct that, because that's what kind of ticked me off, because I'm like, bro, that's not what happened at all, right? So again, hopefully this makes sense to you guys. If you guys have any questions, do let me know. But at the end of the day, the Discord is purged. Everything is back to normal. I to be honest with you, I really don't think not much was lost. I think the community will build back up on Discord. Again, I don't use Discord, but there are other sources to get guides and things like that. So it'll fill up easy. For the people that don't like Snowbreak, they're pretty much gone. I checked the Discord myself. It seems, there's maybe a little trolling here and there, but, it seems pretty cordial, and people will forget about this in like a couple days, honestly. And yeah, that misinformation on that second post with Snowbreak, I'm glad the Gacha Gaming subreddit actually looked into it and said something. Again, you can have whatever opinion you want about some of the rules, but at the end of the day, I had to break down what was going on with that. So, guys, we've got the patch coming up for Narita and Nita very, very soon. Hopefully you liked that video. Hopefully I broke everything down for you and it made sense. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comments, man. I am out. Later.